My brother vacuum sealed the only scissors in the house.
My hair is very, very wild and janky. Look at it. Madness. Does it feel like we're further away?
Isn't that normally how people define you?
Janky and madness?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that how you define me?
Usually when people ask me about you, I say, she's janky and wild. Is that what you said?
Madness.
Madness.
No.
Same thing.
Not even close.
Primarily janky.
I think you're primarily rude. Why do you find the same jokes so funny all the time?
To stick with what you know.
I guess. Oh my god, my hair is driving me nuts.
Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Stop playing with it.
This makes me think of Jess. Remember when she's like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on, hurry up.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Foster the Meeple, a channel all about
Board games.
And
board gaming things.
Exactly. We are here today to do another monthly Spit It Out. We are here today to do another monthly wrap-up, and today's wrap-up is all about the month of May, which just happens to be the best month of them all. Why is that, Jeffrey?
Spring?
No, it's when my birthday happened. This month, we played a total of 37 different games, 46 times. Please stop yawning before I shove something in your mouth.
I can't help it. I don't know what you want me to do.
No, you do it on purpose.
I don't do it on purpose. I don't do it on purpose. I have a yawn. I do. I have a yawn coming and I need to let it out. There's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just a thing.
Can you like at least warn me so I don't waste my time talking while you're breathing loudly?
You just wasted 5 minutes of our time talking about the yawn.
That's because you keep yawning. Where was I now?
37 games.
We played a total of 37 different games 46 times. Do you want to know what's the craziest part about that?
26 of them were in one weekend.
Exactly. That was one part. 26 of them were in one weekend. And the other crazy part about that is we didn't play a single board game until May 15th of this month. That's literally like half of the month. No, that's enough of that.
I didn't even do anything. I just breathed. I'm not allowed to breathe now?
No.
On these videos?
Hold your breath. Let's see how long you can do that for.
Okay.
So the crazy thing is we played 46 times, 37 games in only half a month. Isn't that crazy? Nod. Yeah, that's crazy. All right. We are going to get into it as per usual. We are not going to dive into a full review of every single one.
Why'd you do that? I was going good.
You were breathing through your nose.
I wasn't, I swear. I was like 20 seconds in. Stop.
You stop. I'm trying to get that hair off of you. God. We are not going to dive deep into every single one of these games. We're going to highlight the ones that are new to us or ones that we haven't already featured. I'm going to break your finger if you're not careful with it. Please don't poke me. I mean it. I am going to poke you back.
Come on.
Stop!
What was that?
Stop. I was making fun of you.
Okay, you're being childish.
Okay, you're being childish. Let's just get into it because this is already a bit of a friggin' mess. The first game that we played in the month of May, unfortunately, was Shadowed Kingdom. This is a small card game about Disney. We played it so that you don't have to. I would not waste your time with this game. I'm being harsh, but it's because I really want it to sink in that you should maybe avoid this game if you can. This is just a very small card game. It costs $20 Canadian. You're trying to get your magic token all the way to the end before the shadow token gets all the way to the end by using different cards. There's a little bit of memory. There's a little bit of push and pull. Not our favorite. Let's move on.
Negatory.
So the next game that we played in the month of May was It's a Small World, and we're not going to talk about it because we did do a video featuring it. There it is, right up there, Disney's It's a Small World. So we'll make sure to link that below, but it was all about Disney rides that have games based on them. Overall, it is a very cute kids game.
Yeah, definitely that.
Yes. We also played Villainous, Bigger and Badder, which is a new Villainous set. I love it just as much as I love all the other Villainesses.
They're getting more and more complex with their
villains,
which is pretty cool.
It's very cool.
Okay.
It's more cool than you were letting on. Moving on to the next game, which we've also talked about at least 1 million times, we did play Silver Bullet in May.
I won.
One time. We played twice, and I won the other time.
We only played once.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Champion!
Anyways, we've talked about Silver Bullet millions of times. Love it.
Yeah.
Moving on. Now we're going to talk about a game that we haven't really talked about yet.
Oh, that friggin'.
I know, it's got lid lift. That game is Paint the Roses, and this is from North Star Games. We just got this from Kickstarter. This is the deluxe edition, which is why the box doesn't seem to want to close, so it comes with all of the expansions. This is a cooperative game where you are playing against the Queen of Hearts, and she is chasing you around the garden, and you're just a simple gardener who's just trying to paint the roses red. No, not red. Paint the roses whatever colors and all these things. So what is really neat about this game is it's a cooperative social deduction game. So everyone who's playing has their own kind of secret little objective that they're trying to create on the board, and then they have to get the other players to guess what their hidden objective is. If you get it right, you get to continue around the board. The queen is still going to chase you. But if you get it wrong, the queen's going to start to run faster, and she's going to start chasing you even more. And if the queen catches you, off with your head.
You're dead.
You're dead.
You're dead.
You're dead. What do you think about this game?
I really enjoyed it. Yeah. I want to try it. I think it would play best at 3 or 4. We played it at 2, as we primarily do. Yeah. However, it was very good at 2. The components are incredible.
Oh my God.
Stunning. I really liked the queen. It's almost like a timer.
Yes.
You know, the queen chasing you is basically a timer, and then once the timer reaches 0, you're dead.
You're dead.
I liked it.
I really liked it. I am excited to play it more. Like I said, we did get all of the expansions. We have only played the base game, and I'm just excited to play it with more people, because I do think that will make a difference. The next 2 games that we played, we just did a board game snapshot on them. And that is going to be The Shores of Tripoli from Fort City Games and Three Sisters from 25th Century. So if you want to learn more about these games, I will have that video linked below. But just overall, we love them.
Shores of Tripoli is super good 2-player game.
Yeah, and Three Sisters is a super good roll and write.
Yeah, I've come around on that bad boy.
We are actually planning on doing a video on this next one, so we're not going to say too much, but did just want to highlight that we did play Batman, Detective Batman. Everybody lies.
This was sent to us from Portal Games, so thank you to them for that.
We are going to do a whole video on this, comparing it to the Dune House Secrets, which is another detective game. If you haven't played any of the detective games, it's kind of like Chronicles of Crime-esque, where you are trying to solve a crime. The difference...
Less app.
Yeah, there is an app with this one, but it's less involved. Yeah. And you're working kind of together and also working on your own objectives to try and solve a crime. That's basically it. We are going to have way more information on a very soon upcoming video. Just wanted to show you guys that we played it. Then we played Fantasy Realms a couple times. We're not going to talk about it. Just know that we love it. We played Boomerang Australia 4 times. We are also going to have a video featuring this soon, but what I wanted to say about this game is I had never ever heard about it before, and I'm obsessed with it. It is also on BGA if you want to try it on there. It's a draft and write game, and it's so fun. It's a perfect travel game.
It is a very quick, fun game.
Yes, so we'll be talking about this more in an upcoming video, but it does come in a few different varieties. It comes in Boomerang Australia, Europe, and New York. So if you're interested, if you like roll and writes, if you like the flip and write,
one, but I could be wrong.
Just the 3. I think.
Did you missed the key point?
Wow. No, I don't think I did. So we're just gonna. Well, actually, look at what we're playing next.
I'm undefeated.
Speaking of undefeated...
Like, that doesn't count. I've beaten you in the normal air land and sea.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
No, you haven't.
Check your stats.
I'm going to.
Okay, go ahead. Convenient.
Jeff, I just can't sit here and stand for the lies. Let's see, how do I find this? Air, land, and sea. Not important. All right, so the next game that we played, no, it doesn't matter. Next game that we played is, box down upside down, is Air, Land, and Sea Critters at War. So this is literally the exact same game as Air, Land, and Sea. This is from Arcane Wonders. The big difference, of course, is the artwork. This features critters at war, which makes it way more visually appealing. We love this game. I love this game. How do you feel about it?
We hadn't played it in a long time. We just traveled, we brought it out, and then we were like, this game's great.
Yeah,
I don't know why we don't play it more.
It's a 2-player lane. It's kind of like a lane battler, but really like there's 3 theaters of war, and you are trying to gain dominance in 2 of the 3. And if you don't feel like you're going to be able to do that, then you can withdraw your hand to make sure the other player gets less points. So it's a bit of a tug and war between the 2 people, and I really like it a lot.
Do you say tug and war?
Tug of war.
You said tug and war.
I said tug of war. Rewind. So it's a bit of a tug and war between
the tape.
Fine, we will. I won't be wrong on this one. We also played Hey, That's My Fish, but we will talk about that again also in another video. Moving on to the meat and taters of May. We had a bit of a mini convention. It was called Gaggle Con.
Gaggle Con.
Honk honk. And basically, we went to PEI to visit our friends, the Smiths.
Yep.
You may or may not know of Rodney Smith, just this little known dude that...
He does some board game stuff.
He does some board game stuff. You may have heard of them. I don't know. We went to stay with the Smiths for the weekend, and we played 26 games in 48 hours.
Didn't we?
Gaggle Con.
Gaggle Con.
Honk honk.
And thank you to Rodney, Christie, and Luke.
Yes, for hosting us and for making it just the best weekend ever.
It was great.
It was
And we're looking forward to the next iteration.
Gaggle Con.
I feel like every time we get together...
Return of Gaggle Con.
We'll just need to make a new convention name.
Yeah, maybe. Now, like I said, we played 26 games, so we're going to try and get through as many of them as we can because all of them were new to us except for one, and that was Doodle Dash.
Yes.
We've already talked about Doodle Dash. We're not going to talk about it again. Just know we freaking love it. We were doodling, we were dashing.
And people are going to ask, especially people in Canada, it is like, I don't think you can get it in Canada, unfortunately. This was sent to us from Michelle and Billy. Thank you. From Second Star to the Left.
Love.
I don't think you can buy this in Canada.
And we also did play So Clover, which is another game we've played before, so we won't talk about that one. Always a good time. All right. So we started off Gaggle Con by playing a game called Menara. And this is a cooperative dexterity game.
We played a lot of dexterity games.
We played a lot of dexterity games, and what we have learned is that we're amazing at them.
I'm not.
I am. There's like a platform that has colored circles on it, and then there's also like little wooden dowels that match those colors. And every player is going to have 4 of those wooden dowels, and you're going to be placing them out based on easy, medium, or hard cards that you're flipping over. And the whole point is that you are trying to build up a tower by placing those rods, placing other layers on it, more rods, and initially the goal in a medium game is to get 4 levels. But if you can't complete one of your tasks, then another level has to be added. We were like, how are we ever going to do 4 levels? And then it ended up that we had to do like 8 levels. And
no,
guess,
it wasn't 8.
Maybe
it was
like
like 6 or 7. Yeah, maybe
matter.
6. I think it was 6.
We did it. That's the point.
We did do it.
And as the hero of the group, I, in fact, did lay the top piece.
You did.
So,
yes,
a win for me, but also for the team.
Yep. We don't play a ton of dexterity games. We've played Rhino Hero and stuff, but this was like a bit next level Rhino Hero.
Yeah, it was a little
more involved, a little bit
touch
more
and go at some
points. A little
points.
bit more difficult, I'd say.
It was super fun. So we played a game called Deja Vu, and this game I also crushed. So
what was Deja Vu?
You don't have any deja vu about it? On the table, you lay out these cute little pictures of things, or like little cardboards. It might be a duck, a donut, a clock. And some of the things look really similar. Like there's a yellow duck and a yellow seahorse. There's a t-shirt with red stripes and a life vest with red stripes. Like that game. So what you're doing is you're flipping cards one at a time. You're going around. This is a competitive game. And when you think you've seen something twice, you grab the item. The problem is a lot of things look similar. And you start to second guess yourself. And you're playing it over several rounds. So then when you're in the 3rd round, you're like, wait, did I see this round or last round? And by the end of the round, if a card, or during the round, if a card comes up with an item that you've already taken, then you're out for that round. And then whoever has the most that's still in wins.
It's very good.
It's very, very fun. Loved it. Then we played London. Jeffrey, tell them a little bit about London, would ya?
London is a tableau builder where you are essentially building out London. The unique thing in London that I found is there's certain cards that you can use multiple times. They're pretty, what I found was very rare. If you use a card, though, it flips and you don't get to use it again. And the more cards that you add to your, I guess, city, your tableau, the more poverty you're going to produce, which is a bad thing at the end of the game. It's going to negate your victory points. It was incredible.
Yes, and a really cool mechanic is in order to like play a card in your tableau, you have to pay for it using another card in your hand of the same color. And then you're just kind of like, it's a bit of a tug of war, not a tug and war, of like what you want to keep in your hand because you want to play it versus what you need to get rid of versus what comes up and all of these things. Surprisingly, I loved this game.
Definitely one I'm interested in adding to the collection.
Yes.
Very, very good.
Yes.
One of my favorites from the weekend.
It's one of those games where I feel like it's just thinky enough. It wasn't too much. It didn't go on for too long.
Victorian London.
England. Then we played Marvel Remix. So Marvel Remix is essentially Fantasy Realms with Marvel characters. And there's a bit of a different element in that there's a hero deck, or like there's a deck, and then there's also a villain deck. And the villains, they're worth a lot of points, but if you don't get their objectives, they could be worth like
if you can't
very few points. And
if you can't blank them, like kind of in Fantasy Realms. High points, high risk, I guess.
Yes. So it was really good. If you are a fan of Fantasy Realms and you're a fan of Marvel, that is definitely one to check out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have an itch on my nose. Then we played a game called Rear Window, which is coming out this year. So this is a game based on the old movie
Rear Window.
Rear Window from Alfred Hitchcock.
Alfred Hitchcock, you're correct.
Suspense. And basically, in this game, one person is playing as the clue giver, and everybody else is working together to try and figure out who lives in what apartment and what they were doing, and if there's potentially a murderer. It's kind of like Mysterium in that the clue giver is going to be giving you pictured cards, and of course, they only have what they have to give you, and they have to lay them out in this building in different windows. So it's kind of like you're like peeking at your neighbors through the window, and you're seeing some weird stuff going on. And so you're trying to figure out what person goes in what apartment and what they're doing. So it's like, are they an artist? Are they the drunk? Are they animal lovers or something like that? So you do that over 4 rounds, and then by the end, if you get everything right, you win, or if you get like 3 of the 4 right, you win, or something like that. I loved this game. I also love Mysterium. I love those kind of like deduction-y type games where you're trying to figure out, like someone's trying to give you clues, but they can only work with what they have, and you're all trying to figure it out together.
Yeah, and there's an added twist which we didn't have come to fruition, where the person giving you clues could potentially
be sabotaging you
because of a murder that happened, and basically that changes the win condition for the person giving the clues. It was really cool, like if there was cards that didn't necessarily apply to what the group was trying to guess, they would go face down. But then the group's like, is it face down because he doesn't want us to know what is there because potentially there's a murder? Or did he put it face down because he doesn't think it's relevant to the clues that or the person we're trying to guess?
Yeah.
Because they only have certain cards in their hand.
It's definitely more, I think, my type of game than your type of game.
Definitely.
But it is for sure one that I would love to own. Then we played a game called Code 777. This is a game from like 1985. So this is an old game.
In Code 777, you're going to have basically a sheet of paper in front of you and a little placard thing.
Yeah.
And you're going to have 3 tiles in front of you with numbers and colors on them. Those are going to face everyone else but you. So you're going to draw a card, and that card is going to have a question on it. And you're going to answer it. So you can only see the people's numbers around you. You can't see your own. And a question might be like, how many blue numbers do you see? And you would say, I see 4 blue numbers. That gives information to everyone around you that you see 4 blue numbers.
Yes.
So based off the information they can see and the clue you were provided, they can start to deduce what their 3 numbers are. That's basically the game. And then the first person to guess their number 3 times wins. The thing is,
it's impossible.
And so you have a little piece of paper that gives you all the combinations of numbers and colors. So you're basically just crossing ones off that you don't think are in front of you. But if you guess incorrectly, those numbers are gone and you have to draw 3 more, which is devastating. You have to start all over again.
Happened to me like 4 times.
I love this game. I absolutely adored this game. I don't know. I'm shocked I did. But I had a ton of fun with it.
I had a very hard time with it.
Jamie had
every time I was like off by one number. And every time I got so excited, I was like, is it this? And they were all like, no.
It's one of those things where you're like, you knock off numbers, but then you make loops in logic.
Yes.
And it's like, wait, did I know this was true, or did I just assume it was true? And then when you start making assumptions, it just throws everything off. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, this was really similar to Letter Jam, but with numbers. So if you played Letter Jam, it's kind of the same idea.
I've not played Letter Jam, so I don't know. That means nothing to me.
Well, it might mean something to them. Then we played a game called Null Nichtig, which is a German trick-taking game.
Yes.
And it was so much fun.
It was very mean.
It was very, very mean.
Rodney had my number the whole time. He would not let me get ahead.
So basically in this game, like I said, it's a trick-taking game. It's a little bit different because there is no lead suit.
No.
It's just whoever lays the highest card wins the trick. At the beginning of the game, you're laying out 3 different cards from your hand. Whatever card is on top of the pile is the card that you're going to get to score at the end of the game.
The piles are all different colors.
They're all different colors. So it's the number you're going to get to score at the end of the game. So if you see that somebody's winning a trick, you might throw in a 0 just at the end because it will lay on top of their pile and you're like, that's going to screw them over.
Because that's key.
So if you can find a copy of this game, I don't know if it's in North America, but I would highly recommend.
If you like mean
trick-taking games,
that's
the one for you.
Definitely one to check into.
Yes. Then we decided to start a game of Return to Dark Tower at around 11:30, 12 at night? No.
I think it was around 11.
11.
Yeah. It took us just under 3 hours.
This is our first time playing it. We do own our own copy, but what better way to play it?
With Rodney, who
than
knew
with
how
Rodney,
to play.
who knew how to play it.
And we didn't have to learn it. Return to Dark Tower is a cooperative, scenario-based, app-driven game where you are trying to successfully complete a bunch of different scenarios.
Like a quest.
For example, in our scenario, we had to kill, I don't want to give too many spoilers, but we had to basically kill a boss.
Yeah.
And we had to achieve certain conditions around the map in order to trigger that end game, and then we could defeat the boss once it came out on the map. You're doing that by going to certain places to get more army types, you're exploring dungeons, you're fighting baddies, you're upgrading your character's abilities, and then there's obviously the huge tower in the middle that is spitting out bad things at you and making it increasingly more difficult for you to complete the scenario. It's incredible.
It was so much fun. Even playing it at like 2 a.m. Still super fun.
And we were successful. It got a little bit hairy.
Literally because the cat was on the board.
Yeah.
So there was hair everywhere.
Little Bean was getting involved with Return to Dark Tower. We only have the base game. Rodney had the expansion stuff with the miniatures and the player mat, which I had declined initially, but now I feel like I'm gonna have to get it because
very cool.
And the app was super smooth. Again, one of my favorite experiences of the weekend for sure.
Then we played a game called Boca, and this is another dexterity game where you are facing off against an opponent. So let's just say
it's not really facing off. You're cooperatively building.
You're cooperatively building, but you're like facing off. I guess I meant face to face. So if I was playing Jeff, I'd have to turn and all that stuff. And you have a board, like a raised board, and then wooden pieces. So you are given an outline, which is kind of looks like a bit of a polyomino shapes and stuff like that. Different like Tetris-like shapes, and you have to build exactly what you see, and the person on the other side of you has to build exactly what they see. You have to use all of the cubes or all of the blocks. You're sharing the blocks, and you both have to build it at the same time so that you're satisfying your objective and they're satisfying theirs, and then it's timed. So as soon as you say like we're done, you stop it, then everybody checks to make sure it's done right, and then you score points based on the time that you finished it. So much fun.
And each puzzle can be completed, even though there's times when you're doing it, they're like, there's no way this can work. There's no way that I can fulfill my objective if this is what you need on your side.
And then we played a game called Witness. And this is another like detective style game where you are given like a crime or a case that you need to solve. But every person around the table is playing a different character. This is a 4-player only game. So there are 4 different characters and you have to read what your character knows. Everybody's doing the same. And then you have a certain person that you get to tell that information to, but you have to do it by whispering. So this is like a grown-up game of telephone that may end in disaster. So we played 2 games of this, and the first one was relatively like, and I'm not going to say anything about the scenarios because that would be a spoiler. First one was relatively like, okay, this isn't so bad. I think I can, I heard I heard something about eggs, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm hearing something about that. So we did pretty okay on the first one.
Second one I did.
Then the second one, the information starts to become a bit more complicated. And so even the information you're initially remembering, you're like, okay, I've got this. And then you tell it to somebody else and they're like, what? And you're like, what? And then you're hearing something else and you're like, what? And then eventually you all have to try and say out loud, like who you thought, like who did it and where did they do it? And did they have a witness? And did they have an accomplice? And all this stuff. It was a lot of fun.
You're getting 2 sources of information and then providing 2 sources of information to 2 other people. And you can't write anything down until everyone has provided clues. So you're trying to remember everything, provide the information over the course of like 2 or 3 rounds, and then writing stuff down. And it is nonsense. It got to a point where in our second game, I was being given information. I was like, this doesn't apply to anything. I'm going to ignore it. And it did. And then I was like, how do you guys all know this? And they're like, because you told us. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Jeff felt like you felt like you were getting contradicting information at one point.
Yeah, I just didn't know what was going on.
Then we played a game called Muse Renaissance, and this is another one kind of like, not really like Mysterium, but it's like that style of artwork. And basically you have 2 inspiration cards, and then you have like an art card or whatever. And you're like, you have to give a clue based on the card that you have, based on what it says. And then you're shuffling your picture card in with other picture cards, and people have to guess which one it is based on the clue that you gave. And you have no idea what the other cards are going to be, so your clue might be helpful or it might not be helpful. That's basically it.
Yeah.
And you go around a couple of times, and then whoever has the most points wins. I thought it was a good game. I don't know that it's one that we would necessarily reach for all the time. Like if I were...
It seemed a bit simple.
Yeah, it seemed almost too easy, but then...
We changed a couple things up, and it made it a little bit more difficult, but I still thought it was somewhat. It really depends on the cards that come out. It can be either very obvious or not.
I think that there was only maybe one that stumped all of us.
Yeah.
And then we played a little game called Azul. You may have heard us talking about Azul before, but this is a different version. This is Stained Glass of Sintra. This is the only other Azul game that we've ever played, and I loved it. And I did win, so that helped. I don't really know how to explain this. It's very similar to Azul, but instead of like the floor, you're kind of building out a stained glass. There's a few different
elements. Yeah, instead of a factory floor, you have columns that you're creating.
Yeah, there's a few different elements, and I don't know. I really liked it. It's definitely one that I would buy.
Yeah, and if you're interested, Kavre just did a video comparing all of them. So you can go check that out to learn more about
definitely go check that out.
Azul Stained Glass.
Azul Stained Glass, Azul Regular, Azul Summer Pavilion, Azul Queen's Garden, Kavrazzle.
Kavrazzle. That's actually good.
Yeah. Next up, we played a game called the 100 Torii.
The 100 Torii is a tile placement game where it has a really interesting mechanic. So if you've played Carcassonne, which we haven't.
Carcassonne. We haven't. Have you played on BGA?
I feel like I have.
I've played on BGA.
Anywho, you're playing out tiles, and each tile has an iconography on it. Let's say it's rock. You then are going to trace that rock symbol to the closest rock symbol that's on the board. And hopefully it's farther away and goes through gates. So there's gates on the tiles, and the more gates you go through, so there's red gates and blue gates. Red gates will give you the same resource type. Blue will give you any other resource type. Yeah. So for example, if I placed a tile that was rock and I traced it through 3 red gates to another rock, I would get 3 rock plus the match. So 4 total.
4 rock.
That's basically it. How you score is collecting all of those resources, and that's basically it. You're just trying to multiply as many resources as you can to get those victory points. There's also all of these types of people that you can also pick up that give you special abilities. And if you use one of those, you get victory points for using them. It's very victory point heavy. It's very, very good, and a game I'd never heard about, and I enjoyed it quite thoroughly.
Then we played The Godfather.
I don't know what this is.
Offer you camera foods. Godfather. We've never seen it. Can you tell? So we played The Godfather, which is a game where you're playing different like mob families in New York City. And you are just trying to have the most money by the end of the game. So basically this is an area control game where you're going to be placing different family members or thugs in different spots, and you're going to be activating those locations, trying to collect money, trying to collect different cards that have symbols on them like guns and blood money and alcohol, and you're using those things to complete jobs, which are going to give you more money. And you also have a little suitcase that you're just going to be sticking some money in there. And then each round you're going to be bidding some money, trying to get some allies on your side to come and help you do work. You might be able to, through your jobs, kill some other people, throw them in the Hudson River as you do. That's basically the game. You're just going through different rounds, trying to collect as much money as you can, trying not to overbid on things, trying not to lose your money, not, all of these things by the end to have the most money.
And I would say one of the really cool things about that game is it's not overly complicated for an area control game.
No.
Mind you, we were taught by Rodney, but
He's
I
been
feel
known to teach
I feel
games
like after
well.
one play of that game, I could take that game and teach someone it. It is very simple in terms of what you can do.
Yep.
The board is laid out very well. The actions that you go through during a round are very simple. Very much enjoyed that game.
Then we played a game called Gravwell.
You wrote Gravewell.
That's a W.
Yeesh. Is it?
Yes.
Tell me that doesn't look like Gravewell.
Well, yeah. No, it looks like Gravewool. But it's Gravewell. Gravwell. Okay, Gravwell.
Gravwell is a racing game in its purest form. First person to get from point A to point B wins.
You know we love it.
Gravwell is a spiral board with a gravity element to it. So when you go to move in Gravwell, there's, in our game, there was 4 ships on the board, and then there's 2 debris fields.
Space junk.
Space junk, essentially. And if you want to move, you have to have more gravity ahead of you than behind you. So everyone's going to go around and secretly play a card, a fuel card, which is going to propel their ship in a certain direction. Let's say that I'm very far into first and everyone's really far behind me and I play a 6 card. I'm not going forward. All the gravities pull me backwards. I'm going to move 6 backwards. There are cards that allow you to reverse propel, which basically would mean if I'm super far ahead and played a red 6, I would actually boost myself off of that gravity and move forward. So that's kind of the basic premise. You're being pulled towards whatever has the most gravity either in front of you or behind you, and it is very interesting. It was so good. We love racing games.
We love racing games.
And this was a very unique take on racing games. When I first saw it, I was like, this is going to be over super quick. The board state changes depending on the turn. So if 3 people go before you and you thought you were in a good position to play the certain card that you played down, well, the board states changed. And now everyone is, around you and you're actually getting pulled back where you thought you were going to move forward. Loved it.
Loved it, loved it, loved it. And as you know, it's a racing game, and I am very fast.
In space. I mean, so good.
I won.
Yeah.
I zoomed right by them. They didn't even see it coming. Then we played a little game called Stockpile, because you all know how into the stock market we are, specifically me. This is an older game, and basically it's a stock game. You are bidding, or you're getting hidden information on different companies. So like a computer company or an electric company or a steel company, etc. And you're every player's going to get some hidden information like, oh, I know the stock for the cosmic computers is going to be going up. So maybe I'm going to try and get myself some cosmic computers to add into my stockpile. And basically you're just going through the game, you're laying down cards, you're bidding on different piles of cards to take, and the cards are laid down like some face down, some face up. So you don't really know what you're getting every time when you're bidding. Then you're grabbing different cards, you're selling different stocks, you're buying different stocks, and whoever has the most money at the end of the game wins. And it was way more fun than I ever thought the stock game could possibly be.
You're all on these tracks. All the stocks are on this track. And if you get to the end of the track, you can split your stock, which doubles its value. But in a future round, if it bankrupts, you lose everything.
You lose
it's all
everything.
gone.
Oh.
So you could work a full game to build up stock in one company, all to have it washed away at the very end because it went bankrupt. It shocked me how much A, you liked it, and B, how much I
loved it. I also won, which helps. Everybody else didn't realize that computers are the way of the future.
The cosmic computer stock was...
It split many times.
Was a skyrocket.
Maybe just once.
Yeah.
Then we played one of the Exit the Game boxes. We played The Gate Between Worlds. And this is the very first Exit game we've ever played. And we're not going to talk about it because we're going to have a whole video about these things.
And no spoilers.
And no spoilers, but just know.
So fun.
So fun. And we played it with 5 people. And this is the first time that we've ever done like an escape room or that kind of game. Because I would even put like Chronicles of Crime in this kind of category in terms of like too many cooks in the kitchen is a possible outcome. I did not find that at all.
No, normally we would prefer to play these games at 2-player.
Yeah.
Because we are the types that our voices tend to get drowned out in a room like that. But it did not happen in this instance, and we had a ton of fun. And it was a very challenging puzzle.
Yeah. We were with City Luke.
City Luke.
The smartest guy in town.
God, that guy's going places.
He's going places, let me tell you.
Yep.
Then we played a game called Medium. And this is another party-style game. Everybody has a hand of cards. And I'm going to lay out a hand of card. And then Jeff's going to look at my card and be like, got it. And he's going to lay a card from his hand. You guys have to look at your words and look at each other. and then go 1, 2, 3 and say a word. And you're trying to get into the psyche of the other person to try and figure out what they're going to say. And you're trying to say the same word. So let's just say, we'll use the example of Rodney and Luke. They had refrigerator and how did they get to lettuce?
Vegetable, maybe?
I can't remember.
Let's just say it was refrigerator and vegetable.
Yes. And they said 1, 2, 3.
Spinach.
Lettuce. So they got it wrong. And then it was like 1, 2, 3. So basically, and then you have to connect those words. So if your word was spinach and my word was lettuce, then you get to go again. You'd say 1, 2, 3, green. And if you got that right, that's good. But if you said 2 other words, then you do that one more time in one last effort. You do that until you get it right over the 3 turns.
Yeah.
So, and that's the game. I really liked it. This is a game I've been wanting to try for a very long time. I think this would be a really good game to play with, like, it's a great party game, maybe like a great intro game to the night, or like filler game for the night, or something to play at work.
Agreed.
Maybe not your style, but
I liked it.
Did you?
I liked it, but again, I do agree that game fits in that, hey, we've just played a heavy game. Someone's going to get some food. Break. Someone's going to get some food, like going to get some snacks. What are we doing? Let's play a quick game of medium.
Exactly. But Jeff and I put slippers and he put blue.
I won medium.
And we did 1, 2, 3. Cinderella. Obviously. You did win medium. You are fuzzy. A medium. Only a couple left. We played Don't Mess with Cthulhu. Rodney and Jeff were in collusion the whole time.
Rodney and I absolutely crushed it in Don't Mess with Cthulhu.
Another social deduction game.
The best liars.
At the table.
And
just me and poor City Luke sitting there.
Oh, we played them.
Like, what?
We played them like fiddles. It was embarrassing for City Luke and Jamie.
I knew Jeff was lying the whole time.
I had Luke wrapped around my pinky.
I had 3 elder signs or whatever, and Jeff's like, I have 2, and I was like, no, you don't.
I was confident.
Everybody thought I was lying.
I was confident in the fact. I was like, no, guys, I really had to. I had to. I'm positive. And then I started pretending. I was like, maybe I don't understand the game.
Manipulated City Luke.
I did. And I don't regret it.
Okay, so basically this is a social deduction game.
Yeah.
There's 5 different cards. 2 of them have cultists on them, and 3 of them have investigators. And you're going to shuffle them up and deal them out randomly. At least one person in the group of 4 would be a cultist. The investigator's looking for elder signs, and the cultists want the investigators to find Cthulhu. And there's 1 Cthulhu card.
1 Cthulhu card, yeah.
So you go around one by one, and people are like, I have 1 elder sign. I have 2 elder signs. I have Cthulhu. So don't come near me. And that's basically it. And you're just going back and forth, and you're shining a light on people's cards, trying to figure out who you can trust and who you can't trust and all of these things. And the point is that Jeff and Rodney were in collusion the whole time, and it was unbelievable. Unbelievable. I knew you were lying, though, so...
You didn't.
I did. I said it from the beginning.
Well, listen,
I had 3. You had 2.
Rodney and I wiped the floor with you 2 schmucks.
Unbelievable. Okay, next.
Not sorry, City Luke.
I am City Luke. Next game that we played, this was like the game that we ended the Saturday night with, and it was called Click Clack Lumberjack. And another just silly dexterity game. It's like a tree trunk.
Yeah.
And you have a little axe, and you're hitting the tree trunk twice.
It's like a big plastic tree trunk with a bunch of plastic bark around it.
Yes, and you're just trying to get the bark to fall off.
Not
so you're
the
gonna
core.
Go clack, clack, and then hope the bark.
It's all layered like this.
And you're wanting the bark. The bark is worth 1 point, but if you happen to get a piece of the core, it's -5 points. And Jeff just goes, and there's just bark, and there's tree trunk everywhere.
Actually,
it worked out in your favor.
I didn't mean to do it, but I'm not.
You just don't know how hard to hit it. But it was really fun.
It was very fun.
It's just like this it's obviously a kid's game, I think. But it's just this very silly dexterity game where you're just...
trying to slightly tap.
And hope that the bark falls off.
Yep.
Very silly. Okay, we have 3 more games. This is a long video. Okay, so the next game that we played is Llamaland. Ask me how I feel about it.
How do you feel about it?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I love llamas, and I love the idea of having a llama land. Tile placement game by Phil Walker Harding, where you are building both outward and upward, trying to cover different resources to collect those resources to purchase llamas. And you are trying to score on different objectives that you're claiming at the beginning of the game and trying to get points through your llamas. So if you're the quickest one to get the llamas, those llamas are worth more points. The llamas at the bottom are worth less. And it's puzzly, and I loved it. I loved it. I want to buy it. I need to have it. it. Then we played Cursed Court.
Cursed Court is a bidding game,
Mm-hmm.
which I absolutely fell in love with. I forgot about that until right now, and that might have been one of my favorite games of the weekend.
It's one of the last games we played.
So in Cursed Court, you're going to have information. So there's a board of players. Like there's a jester, a queen, a king, and they're all in the same spot every game. That's the board.
Mm-hmm.
And you're given information. There's only a certain amount of cards that are going to come out on that map. So you'll have one card to start, which reveals one character on that map.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have one next to you to your right and one next to you to your left that is information that you have. And everyone has similar cards around them to provide them information, because those cards at the end of the round are going to be added to the pool of cards to show what characters were flipped up on the map. You're bidding on who you think or what sets of characters on the map you think are going to be shown on the card tableau at the end of the game. So for example, if I had the jester and the queen, I could bid on the jester and the queen because I know that those cards are going to come out at the end of the game. They're worth lower points and people are going to probably knock you off of those spots. Or I could bid on the four corners of the map. Like I think the four corner characters are going to show up on the card tableau based off of information I'm seeing other people bid on or cards that get flipped up during the round. And ultimately you have a stack of 20 coins. And if I bid on the jester for 4, the next person has to bid 8 to knock me off of the jester, and then I can replace and rebid. I get those coins back, I get my thing back. Everyone has to complete 4 bids for the round to end, and then you're scoring victory points. And it was very good.
Very, very, very good.
Definitely
very
one.
Cutthroat.
Definitely one I'd love to get.
I do wish the theme was a little bit different. The Cursed Forest. Christy and I thought it could have been cuter.
Mm-hmm.
The art was beautiful, but it wasn't cute.
Mm-hmm.
And then the very last game that we played in the month of May and at Gaggle Con was Junk Art. Another dexterity game. We had a very dexterity-heavy weekend.
From Jay Cormier and
Sung Fu Lim.
The same guys that did
Mind Management.
Mind Management.
Yes. So with Junk Art, you're going to have different objectives that you are trying to complete. So like they're all called different things. So the first one we did, I think they're all like cities, was Philadelphia. And one was New York. And you're just trying to do whatever the card says. So for one of them, we had to build the tallest tower. For the next one, or for another one, we had to build like 3 different things by passing cards to the next person. And then you had to get up and go to their spot and continue building. And if you knocked down 2 pieces, you were out. The last person standing won. We have never played this game before, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and all the pieces are different shapes, and some are like balls, which are like, how are you going to build on top of this if you get it early?
And yeah, you're just trying to not make things fall over. It is very difficult to do, and you're trying to push your luck a little bit because like sometimes you just don't have a choice on what piece you're taking, and some of them might be like a little ball, or some of them might be this little dumbbell thing that nothing sits on, but you can get creative and you can like lay things down, or maybe you want to knock a piece over because you don't care about that piece. And I loved it. I love dexterity games. Like I love them.
I sucked at it. I was terrible at it.
That's true.
My hands shake too much, but I still had a ton of fun.
Those are all of the games that we played in the month of May. We got through so many new games. We had, I think it wouldn't even matter what games we played. We would have had an amazing time playing them with the Smiths, because the Smiths are fun.
Goes back to that conversation. Is it the game or is it the experience? And in every indication for me, it's about the people around the table.
Yeah, even if the game is a dud, which luckily we didn't have any. I will play all of these games again, happily. I'd be very interested to know, what was your favorite game that you played in the month of May? Give us some ideas. I want to know.
This was a banger month for games. We played some really freaking good games.
Yeah. That is all that we have for you guys today. If you're interested in buying board games like any of the many that we talked about today, you should first start by checking your friendly local gaming store. And for us here in Halifax, that is
the Boardroom Game Cafe.
Yes, it is. And we love it. That's all we have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see,
please subscribe.
We hope to see you again soon. And now we say goodbye. Goodbye.
There it is. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Foster the Meeple. I need to shave.
I need to, like, I don't know, do something about this hair. What do I look like to you people?
Jakey.
And mad?
Madness.
We're all mad here.
Should have made coffee. Get.
Wait, attached to the ear? You're lucky it's attached to the face, otherwise I'd be pulling her out. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Stop That. You do that on purpose. You're like, this is going to be really funny and everyone's going to think I'm so cool if I do this.
Here's the thing you need to know about me, Jamie. I don't care if other people laugh. I care if I laugh.
Okay.
Stop screwing around.
Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Jeff, off.
There it is. There's the madness.
I'm Michelle. I eat fish. We'll skip over the ones.
I'm pissed.
Yeah, you'll live. Put your hand over there.
No!
I don't want it by me.
I'm sitting like this. This is how uncomfortable.
Stop, you're wasting time.
Come on. No, you're wasting time. I'm sitting here.
Jeff, I swear to f***ing God, I'm gonna lose my shit. Stop. We'll never get through this. It's already been 6 minutes.
Can you calm down?
I can't.
Jeez Louise.
I've been drinking green tea all goddamn day.
Well, I'm not allowed to do anything in this video,
You just can't
apparently.
be smashing. Okay, you're literally doing all of the things that you are trying to do purposefully to make noise.
Like talking, breathing.
Yes.
A is going to go before a Z, etc. In the board state.
You said C like an American.